You may have heard about what's called the third eye, and that essentially by activating your third eye, you'll gain access to certain abilities and certain things that you wouldn't be able to access if you were not to activate it. And that's certainly been my experience when activating my third eye. Really, so much in my life changed after I actually did this. This included my business taking off, not only in a financial way, but also in a way that was incredibly aligned, where I was getting to do what I absolutely love to do. It helped my relationship to expand, including the relationship I had with myself, which I was then able to use that to expand my romantic relationship and just how fulfilling that is. I also started to have more access to information intuitively than I had ever had before, and started noticing opportunities coming in from seemingly nowhere. Solutions to problems also started to come flying in. It was almost as if the universe was tapping me on the shoulder saying, hey, just head in that direction, or hey, head in this direction. And these are just some of the things you can possibly expect to happen when you activate this part of yourself that for most has laid dormant for a very long time. But the great thing is that anyone can activate this because it is a part of you. It is something that you have access to. We just usually haven't learned how to access this, or for whatever reason that information has been suppressed. But when you do activate it, these things I've gone over and more become available to you. Now, I want this video to be practical, to actually give you some actions and awarenesses that you can use in your daily life so that it actually improves and benefits you in some way. And so without further ado, we are going to dive into what the third eye is, give you the awarenesses that you need around it, and give you some powerful action steps so you can start to activate it in really cool ways, and also to keep it activated, because you can activate it, and then if you kind of take your eye off the ball, so to speak, it can go back to being dormant. Now, I recommend that you really remove all distractions as you go through this, and take notes, because it could become the foundation for your transformation moving forward. So let's jump into it. So you can think of your third eye almost like a gateway to senses and awarenesses and abilities beyond just your five senses, or what we use to perceive the physical world. Now, that being said, it does have a physical representation in the body. There is an actual organ in the body called the pineal gland that is kind of the physical side of what we are calling the third eye here. And by actually vibrating this part of ourselves, the pineal gland, we can have out-of-body experiences, spiritual experiences, gain access to greater wisdom, and so forth. We can actually naturally release DMT by doing this as well, without taking any exogenous forms of it. Ultimately, when you go to activate and begin to activate your third eye, you gain access to greater awarenesses and abilities and things of this nature that you may have not been accessing before. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not talking about like you'll have these superpowers or supernatural things. These are actually very natural abilities that most people have access to, but we just haven't been taught how to access them. Again, it's all happening from within you, and doing certain things that will help you to essentially unlock something that's already within you. We're not adding something, we're simply unlocking something that we already had access to, but may have just been unaware of. Now, one thing that can usually become immediately noticeable when you unlock this part of yourself, when you open your third eye, is you gain just a much better access to the intuition. Meaning you're gonna have certain ideas and certain insights and things come out of seemingly nowhere. One analogy I really love that kind of explains how this can work is the radar screen. So imagine you have a radar screen, and on this radar screen is everything that you are aware of in your physical life. So it's everything that you can see and everything that you can perceive. This is your physical existence on this radar screen. You see the little blips on the radar screen, the X's, the O's, whatever, and it's indicating what you're already aware of and what's within the radar screen. Well, if you only live life from the radar screen, it means you never open yourself up to everything that's off the radar screen. And it is off the radar screen where our intuition is gathering information. It is off the radar screen where that next best idea that's going to change everything for you exists, where that person that needs to come in to take you down a certain pathway you want to go down exists, where certain opportunities can come in from. But if we're only focused and hyper-focused on the radar screen, and this is it, this is the only thing, then we miss out on all of the other stuff that's off the radar screen. When you begin to open your third eye, it's like opening up the gateway to the things that are off your radar screen instead of just seeing what's on the radar screen. Again, we can think of the radar screen as being, again, like the five sensory world, the physical universe, and off the radar screen essentially being everything else. You can think of activating your third eye and activating this more kind of deeper inner part of yourself as activating more of the spiritual and mental planes of existence, which we've gone over on this channel a lot. That you are a three-part being, physical, mental, and spiritual. Most people are only aware of or focus on the physical, when in reality, most of it is made up of the spiritual and mental. Again, all that stuff off the radar screen. And the more attention and emphasis we actually give to this spiritual and mental side of ourselves, the more access to off the radar screen we get that we can then bring into the physical or onto the radar screen. And again, opening our third eye, gaining those awarenesses, those abilities that you've always had access to, just haven't been tuning into, haven't been connecting to that. Once you start doing that, that's when things in a nonlinear fashion can start coming from off the radar screen onto the radar screen in your physical life. Now, I want to give you kind of a framework to work with here on what activating your third eye is going to do, especially from this framework. So we have a framework we teach in our reality creation program, EMF, which is a program where we take people in a group, a peer group of like-hearted and like-minded people on a 6-month reality creation journey where they have weekly coaching, very specific modules with very specific material in a very specific order to help them start creating their realities now and kind of forever, because once you learn these principles, once you open this up, you can keep doing it. And we give them what's called the to me, by me, through me consciousness frame. And I want to relate this to you here and how it applies to the third eye. So most people are stuck in what's called either a to me or by me way of living. Now, to me is, just to make it very simple, is victim mode. To me is someone who always says something along the lines of, life happens to me. Life is unfair. I have no control. I have nothing I can do about anything. Life happens to me. I'm always at the whims of life, and life seems to be very cruel. This is to me, and this is where the majority of people exist for the most part. Now, by me is an upgrade. This is more like the hustle and grinding culture. Now, this is still not ideal because you're kind of fighting against life, because in by me, it's life happens by me, just by me. I have to make it happen. I don't need anyone's help. A man is an island, whatever it is. I'm going to go out and hustle and grind and bend reality to my will, being physical, trying to influence physical. If we look at it like a river, let's say we're on the river of life, to me is like someone who either never gets in the river, never engages, or is in the river and is like holding on to a rock or a twig, too afraid to go forward. And by me is like the person who's swimming upstream against the current, going like, I'm going to show you life, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to whatever else it is, with the inevitable conclusion of them eventually burning out and being carried by the river anyway, but usually not in the ways that they want. So by me, think of more hustle and grinding. Now, by me is better than to me because at least in by me, you are taking some level of responsibility, you are taking some action. But again, we all know the pitfalls that come with doing that. The burnout, the usually kind of negativity seeping in other areas of our life. A lot of people, for example, sacrifice their health, their relationships, whatever else it is, in order to hustle in one direction or whatever it is for them. So those are to me and by me. Now, to me and by me also operate from the radar screen. So like we were talking about earlier, they operate from always looking at the radar screen. Life is unfair because all these things seem to come in that I can't explain, and they're on my radar screen and I got to change them, I got to fight them. Or to me, victimizing about all the things on the radar screen. But you'll notice that in both of those states, we don't gain access to this whatever's beyond the radar screen. But in through me, we do. Because through me is the state of life operates through me. Life doesn't happen by me, life doesn't happen to me, but life happens through me. As in, you are co-creating, cooperating with life. Not scared of it, not fighting against it, but cooperating. You're the co-pilot with life. So when you are in through me, which is what we teach people to do in the program, to really wire that state in so they're living from it, again, life operates through you. This is when things from the unseen can start coming into the scene because you're not hyper-focused on the radar screen. You're allowing what's beyond that to start coming in. And this is what we start to do when we open the third eye. We gain awarenesses, we gain insights, we gain information and data we wouldn't be able to gain access to otherwise if we were just focusing on the radar screen. Another way to look at this is you are in a different level or frequency of consciousness. If we were to look at the Hawkins scale, more of the lower emotions would be associated with Toomey. Anything from about fear or below would be in Toomey. Anything from about desire to pride would be in By Me, and courage and up would be when you're getting into more of the Through Me states. So you can look at it from that scale as well, that as you open your third eye, you're also moving up in the consciousness scale, which is going to allow you to have more awarenesses, which is going to allow you to really use those awarenesses to shift things in your life. One of the other reasons this works is because life is non-linear. You will not find things in nature that are linear. We are the ones who try and control things and make things from A to B to C. But really, things happen in ways that we cannot explain in the physical because they're happening in the non-physical. They're coming out of left field from off the radar screen into the radar screen. And when you're in Through Me, you allow that to come through instead of fighting it or resisting it like you would in By Me or To Me. And again, when you have that third eye open, you'll be open to these things coming in. You'll be aware of what's happening. You'll probably seek out more of how this works so that you're not resisting it. And again, as you keep activating your third eye, you keep using the things, I'm going to give you some stuff in this video that you can start doing right away. It is going to allow you to have a louder intuition. It is going to increase what we call your signal to noise ratio. Most people have a terrible signal to noise ratio. It's like 99% noise, and if they're lucky, 1% signal. Signal being your intuition, the things off the radar screen, being able to recognize that, allowing those in instead of resisting them. Most people are constantly distracted away from the parts of themselves that are represented in the spiritual and mental and are hyper-focused on the radar screen or the physical. When you open your third eye, you can't help but become more focused on the signal because now you're receiving differently. Now you're on a different frequency. Now you have opened yourself up to more of what absolutely is out there instead of this tiny screen that is the radar screen that we're used to only looking at. And it's like being a horse with blinders on, only able to see one spot or tunnel vision and not able to see every other possibility around them until those blinders are removed. Opening your third eye is you removing the blinders. Now, one last thing on this that's going to really help is not enough to have these awarenesses and things from the off the radar screen coming in. You have to take the inspired action, because a lot of times what happens is life will line up opportunities and people and other things in your life when you start doing this, but it's going to pull you to taking certain actions, and then my advice would be to actually take it. So what I'm going to do now is actually give you a guided meditation that I've used before, but for a lot of you, you may have never heard of this. And even if you have gone through this, go through it again. The more you do this, the more you give energy to your third eye, the more you activate it, the more you keep it on, which means as you go through your day, the more you will benefit from opening it. So I'm going to give you a guided meditation. I recommend you find a quiet place, you remove all distractions, and you follow through. And you can always come back to this video if you want to use this guided meditation again and again. I will put a timestamp in the description if you want to skip right to it if this is not your first time doing it. But anyway, let's play the guided kind of third eye manifestation meditation. This thing is so powerful. If you use it, it's going to help you to essentially vibrate your pineal gland and a lot of other things. So I'm excited to see how you do with this. But anyway, let's play that, and then we'll move on to some extra tips and tools that are going to help you with all of this. Now, I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Aim to breathe from the diaphragm and then circulate it into your chest. And breathe gently out. Continue to relax. Allow your mind to settle. Focus in on this moment, and allow any thoughts you may be having to simply drift away or float by. Take another deep breath in. And out. Nice and deep. Keep this breathing rhythm up, taking in a deep breath. Then releasing it gently. As you do this, notice the changes already occurring in your body. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel tingling in your fingers and feet? Notice all the good that is already coming from just taking a moment to get present and breathe deeply and intentionally. Now we are going to practice drawing this breath and energy up to our third eye or pineal gland. So I want you to breathe in slowly. And as you circulate your breath from the diaphragm to your chest, allow it to continue upward to the spot just above and between your eyebrows. Do this by simply visualizing this energy and breath going to this spot as you breathe. When you get there, hold it for a moment and then release. Very good. Now once again, breathe in deeply, allowing your energy and breath to move up from your diaphragm and to your chest, up through the chakras, and then rest it in your third eye. Visualize this process happening. Visualize the energy rising into your pineal gland as you breathe. Hold it for a moment, and then release. One last time. Breathe in deeply, draw your energy up to the third eye, and as you do this, see this energy as a bright light as it flows through you and up into your pineal gland. See a ball of energy and light resting in your third eye as you breathe into it. Hold it for a moment and then release. You are starting to activate your pineal gland and should feel more energy flowing through your body. But if you don't, it's okay. Now, take a moment to really feel that energy and to amplify it. Whatever level that energy is at right now, aim to increase it. Now, allow yourself in your mind's eye to think about what it is that you desire. What is it in your heart that you want more than anything? What is it in your soul that you wish to bring about in your life? Picture this clearly in your mind's eye. Feel as deeply as you can as you see this. See yourself in first person with whatever it is you want, with whatever experience you wish to experience. It is happening right now before your eyes. Take a few moments to really see this scene, to feel it, and to be in it. Now take whatever it is you are experiencing and watch it in your mind's eye as it is all absorbed into a photograph that you are holding. This photograph encapsulates your desire, what it is you want. See yourself in your mind's eye holding it in your hands. Feel the energy that emanates from this photo. Now hold this photo up a little above your eyes and see the picture glowing with a faint light. And with your index finger in your mind's eye, touch the middle of this picture, while at the same time using your index finger in the physical world to press the spot between your eyes where the pineal gland is located. Do this simultaneously. Now with this image in your mind, start to breathe deeply again and set the intention to breathe through your pineal gland and third eye. Simply visualize it as you do this so you can see the breath that is coming through as pure light. With each breath, your image is being surrounded by light. Keep breathing until your picture is completely surrounded by a bright light. almost like a cloud of white light. Now, take one final breath in and hold it for a moment in your pineal gland with this image still in mind. When you exhale, see it turn into a ball of energy and feel it travel down your body through the solar plexus to a spot about 2 inches below your belly button. You should feel at this point some tingling in your hands and feet and the top of your head. Then release this energy back up and into the universe to your higher self. Allow it to be surrendered to a higher source. Now, take a moment to breathe easily once again, nice and gently. Notice the energy that may still be in your body. You may even find yourself wanting to smile, and so do so if you feel compelled to do so. Feel your energy rising. Feel the energy surrounding your body. And before we end, notice that you are surrounded by a light. You are surrounded by a white light of energy. Feel that energy now. What you have done here is very powerful. Thank you for joining me today, and when you are ready, gently open your eyes and know that you have set a very powerful process in motion. Now, one thing to understand is that for so many people, for you watching, this was the case for me and so many of us on this planet, which is a strange way to say it, but it's true, is we have what's called a calcified pineal gland, and we want to decalcify it. And essentially, it becomes calcified, which makes it harder to use, harder to access this part of ourselves. It's like it's been blocked off, like there's a blockage that prevents us from accessing it as much as we could. Is because of a few factors. A lot of them are environmental, diet related, for example, that have caused this. Another is lack of use, in the same way that a muscle will atrophy if you don't use it. If you were to lay up in bed all day, every day, your muscles would start to atrophy and you would have to build them back up over a period of time in order to get use of them again. The pineal gland is going to operate in a similar way. It was there and is there to be used, but for whatever reason in modern day, we have developed certain habits, again, environmental factors, the way we eat, that has caused it to be harder to access the pineal gland. Now, fret not, you can decalcify the pineal gland. And there's a few things I'll just give you here, and you can go explore this some more on how you can do this, on how you can decalcify this. But the first thing is, what are you eating? If you're eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of fake foods, a lot of things that, we call food, but if we were to take a step back, we'd be like, that's not from nature. That is not what nature intended. That is not really food. And this includes if you're eating kind of non-organic and things of this nature as well. Now, again, do the best with what you have, but ideally the best you can go for here is eating really nutrient-rich organic foods that you know are coming from a good place and all this different stuff, and to really cut out the rest, the kind of the sweets and the artificial sweeteners, all the different stuff that and we all know is unhealthy. The cleaner you eat, the better it's going to not only influence your pineal gland and your ability to access these deeper parts of yourself, but just basically all of yourself as well. Obviously your body, this will give you better mental clarity for the mental realm, and of course the spiritual and accessing these higher states. Now, another thing to be kind of aware of is fluoride. There is fluoride in a lot of water systems. There is fluoride in toothpaste. There is fluoride in a bunch of different things that we consume, and this is something that can actually be quite poisonous and really, really affects the pineal gland. So I would be making sure, again, you're drinking drinking very high quality water, filtered water at the very least, and there are other different methods you can do. I have what's called a Flaska, which actually helps calibrate the water to a different level of consciousness, which I can leave a link to where I got that if you want to check that out. But you want to be making sure your water is really good quality, it's alive water, and it doesn't have fluoride. So if you're drinking tap water, things of that nature, I would really invite you to change that and to look more into mountain spring water, to look more into alive water. Water is a very interesting thing to look in. I made a video about it a long time ago about how crucial it is to have very good water. You're made up of about 70 to 90%, depending on who you ask, water. And the kind of water you drink makes a huge difference. Most people are drinking what's called dead water, not alive water. Most people are using that in everything they do. So just something to look into. And again, toothpaste is one of the simplest and easiest kind of immediate ones to put into action that you can fix. If you are using toothpaste with fluoride in it, again, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would invite you to get a fluoride-free natural toothpaste. Again, fluoride is something that is going to calcify your pineal gland like nothing else. And again, it's not going to help much else in your body as well. And so those are a few things that you can do. Now, other than that, besides the dietary stuff, the environment, there's many other things you can do. You can go super geeky on this, but getting the basics down, in my eyes, is crucial. Again, what you're consuming, the toothpaste, the water, the food. Getting those is going to already help you in many different ways. Now, some practices you can do. That meditation, that guided meditation you just went through is going to be amazing at decalcifying your pineal gland, because when you start doing it correctly, you are vibrating your pineal gland. And when you vibrate your pineal gland, you start to activate it more, which will decalcify it. You think about it like if you fire and wire something from a neural connection standpoint, the more energy you give to a pattern, the stronger it becomes. The more you give energy to your pineal gland, like you noticed me talking about when I guided you through that meditation, the stronger it'll get, the more light you give it, all these different things, the more it will decalcify and the easier it will be to access. Again, it's like building the muscle. It's getting stronger the more that you do this. And you can do this throughout the day. You don't need to do the whole guided meditation. Maybe do that once or twice if you really want to fast track this, once or twice per day. But you can also take moments of 30 seconds to a minute and just give light to your pineal gland, to really draw energy up into it, to vibrate it a bit throughout the day, and you will notice that you're getting better at being able to access it because you are decalcifying it. Another thing that I absolutely love that helps with this is breath work. Certain breath work modalities are going to help you to activate this. Dr. Joe Dispenza, with certain meditation that includes breath work as well, amazing at decalcifying and vibrating the pineal gland, the third eye. Wim Hof also, you can use certain techniques around that. This is the one I like to do more often, where again, you're drawing it up, it's in the Dr. Joe Dispenza way, and you're just vibrating and keeping the energy at the third eye. One thing I will say with all of this, make sure you are sitting, you are lying down when you are doing this, because you can go lightheaded. You can, you're putting a lot of energy here. You can find yourself sometimes getting a little woozy from doing this. So please make sure you're in a safe place where you're sitting comfortably, where you're lying down, and you're not standing up, operating machinery or anything of that nature. But again, the more you vibrate this place, the stronger it will become and the easier it will be to access. Now, I really think a good follow-up to this is learning how to speak to yourself correctly in a way that's actually going to allow you to manifest the world, the reality you want for yourself. So I'd recommend this video next. And again, once you start speaking to yourself correctly, you start drawing in, again, those things from off your radar screen, from your thoughts, from the words you're actually speaking. It gives you such a leg up when it comes to reality creation. But if you're not doing it and you're doing it the opposite way, you're speaking against yourself, you're never going to create reality in the ways that you want. So I'd go watch that one next.